Hi, students. Very good afternoon. So before we start this session, I would like to ask you for a technical poll. Please let me know if the audio and video is clear so that we can proceed without any delay. Okay. Yeah, it should be visible on your screen. Please let me know if the audio and the video is clear. Yes, perfect. Yeah, let me end the poll. So let's get started, guys. Okay. So, hello, people. Hello, students. I welcome you all today for our orientation class. Okay. So, this is just like an introductory session to let us know each other well and so that we can have a common ground for discussion, right? So, we have to talk about something so that we can understand how we can go about in the coming days, right? So, my name is Vinay. So, I will be taking the Enable Biology classes for 11th and 12th, both Enable and Enable Plus programs. Okay. So let us start our day. So before we get on to whatever we are going to talk about in the plus two. So plus two is a very, very exciting year. Okay. I personally love the plus two syllabus. Why? Because it is more applicative, right? So it easily gets into our heads and we can relate to so many things that are happening around us. So if you would have looked into your textbooks, obviously you would have felt, okay, this is quite more interesting and more easier compared to that of my 11 textbooks. But I would tell you, even though the 12 textbooks are quite, easy and it comes to us because of the application that is provided, yet 11th standard stands as a foundation to understand the core concepts or the very basic concepts of biology, right? I hope you agree with me. So let us start. So why do we study biology? So people have several reasons to study several subjects, right? For example, if you talk about mathematics, what do they get studying numbers? So what do they even see through the numbers? You cannot understand until and unless you stand in a mathematician's shoe, right? So you can't justify what is their likes and dislikes and what makes them, driven towards this particular knowledge. Similarly, as a biologist, maybe all of us tomorrow are going to become biologists one way or the other. So as a biology teacher, I would not expect anything better than this, right? So as a biologist, why do we have to study biology? So for me, biology is something that I can define and I can keep giving reasons for everything that is happening around me, isn't it? So irrespective of whatever the falsification of information that comes, people might tell, oh, this is because of that. But ultimately, there is a truth that is hidden to everything that happens biologically. So for us as a biologist, the one of the most fascinating things is to go into the subject, okay, of life and give reason to why it is happening in such a way and why and how things are related and how we are all one as a family of living organisms. So studying this gives us pleasure. Studying this gives us a lot of insights, right? So now, in simple terms, when you ask a biologist, okay, for example, if I ask you, what is biology? You would tell study of life. So if I ask you another question, what is life? So 101 opinions will come, right? So some might be philosophical, some might be scientific, some might be factual, some might be so many, etc., etc., etc. Hundreds and thousands of definitions are there for this one simple word called as life, right? So, anyways, we just say that study of life is called as biology, right? In simple terms, we tell that study of life is called as biology. So before we head on to, the study of life, that is the biology, let us take a small glimpse, okay, on how our life created and why the significance of life is so much, okay, in our lives. See, for me personally, when I see people chasing their dreams, for example, in our classroom, there might be so many students. So all of us students, if I ask you people, yeah, tell me students, why do you have to crack NEET or why do you have to study biology? Some might say doctor, some might say, to pursue other careers. But when you say classical sciences like studying math or just classical classical chemistry or classical physics or theoretical physics or biology, what we see is we see a broader perspective, the quest for truth, the constant reasoning of defining what is life, how it was originated, what is ancestry, why life is evolving, why life is so dynamic, right? What is consciousness? So all these things are so much interrelated to so many so many departments of science and so philosophy, right? Similarly, when you have to know something, for example, you have to know the value of life, you have to feel the life, right? So similarly, to imagine, to have this compassion for life, you have to know what life is. So let us take a sneak peek of how the life created. So if you just look at the timeline of this entire cosmos, it would really boggle you. Like you can't even imagine the number of years, the distance, or how much it has taken to tame and evolve to what we are today. It is unfathomable. You can't even just put it into one perspective, right? So let us take a very small timeline. Okay, so take a look at this. So this is a cosmic calendar. So what is happening in the cosmic calendar is we are taking from January to December. Okay. So from January to December is 1 year, isn't it? So what would happen if we just condense all these things that has happened around us until the multicellular life evolved in 1 year, right? So let us say that in January, the Big Bang happens. So you guys are the most interesting people to talk to when it comes to astronomy, right? So when I talk about Big Bang, so many of you people have some of the insights, some of your imagination, or some facts regarding Big Bang. We all know that all the mass in the universe condensed into one heavier object and it exploded. First implosion happens and then it explodes. From then onwards, the space and time originates, and then all this celestial dust, they condense into heavier objects such as stars, planets, solar systems, galaxies, you name it. Whatever you see the physical objects as cosmos, so they spread across this time and space to form this, whatever we call it as universe. And all these celestial objects like stars and dust, they form galaxies, and the stars have their own heavenly bodies like planets. And in these planets, miraculously, we are somewhere around, and the third position, very beautiful sun, the warmest light, and the perfect ground for the life to begin, right? So all these things, when the January, the Big Bang happened, and you see the star appearance of stars happen in February, and the galaxies, start condensing by March and April. By May, we have the disk of Milky Way. Okay. See, it takes June, July, and August, okay, for almost September for our solar system, okay, to be able to support life, right? So Earth was the chosen planet out of billions and billions of planets. See, we don't know, even today, after so much technological advancement, we really don't have a proof for extraterrestrial life. You agree with me, right? So exactly. So that is why. So by now, we have our beautiful Earth, the most gifted planet where the life originated. See, guess what? If the life began in September, within October, November, December, in this just shorter period of time, we had oxygen forming by photosynthesis, we had eukaryotic cell, and eukaryotic cells were again evolving into multicellular organisms, right? So within December, if you split into December 1 to December 31st, look at these people. What is happening? By December 1 or 2, amphibians you have, 3 and 4, reptiles you have. As you move on, you see by day 7 and day 8, we already have vertebrates, right? By 11 and 12, we have fish with jaws, right? And birds. Again, by 13 and 14, by mid-December, we have insects and flowers, okay? So by final 31st day, what do we have? We have dawn of apes, okay, humans and a chimpanzee split, and the Homo sapiens evolved to become humans. Humans starts migrating. See, by New Year, for the next New Year, 1156 to 1159, we already have started human migration. I don't know if it's not fascinating or if it's not breathtaking. Just take a moment to absorb this. January to December, December 1st to December 31st. how many billions of events has occurred, right? Since the origination of our Earth, since the origin of life on our planet. So this is too much to even absorb into a system, but we have to thank the constant perseverance of life to what it has become today, right? So it's a gift for us to understand, to relate knowledge, and to cherish this knowledge that we keep gathering, and we keep building this huge web, calling all these different animals as ancestors and relating each others as common forms. Sure. So let us see even more deeper into what is happening. So if I say that something is living, okay, so I can say, okay, I have ice, okay, it also behaves, it also changes shapes, it also changes structure. Take for example fire. Fire also grows, it grows bigger, it can become smaller. But what are the factors that make me differentiate between living and non-living? So today we're all in this classroom as living organisms. Maybe, it might be a dream. Maybe we are living or may not be living. It's quite confusing, isn't it? But yet, let us take a glimpse. So how do we differentiate living from non-living? So let us take a quick peek. So I hope this video works. Do we have? Yeah, it works. See, for example, for a living organism, right? The first thing what we have is the capacity of regulation, right? Do you agree with me, students? So what's happening? So when we just run, when we just are in a very cold climate, so whatever is happening in our surrounding, what are we doing? We are trying to keep up the balance within our internal environment, even though the external environment is constantly changing, right? External environment is always trying to beat us down and trying to make us weaker, but our internal environment, right, is always kept steady. For example, you might see yourself sweating, or you might see your pet dog panting, okay, for breath. So why is this happening? All the heat is liberated, okay, out of your body, just to keep your internal environment cool. So you see biology everywhere. So you can see that regulation is a form of biology. Your breathing is a form of biology. So these are all the aspects that defines what is living and what is dead. Okay, let's see the other aspect. So for example, living organisms, they respond to their environment. So these are the one of the craziest things that you can observe around yourself. So what are those? See, from a crazy cat jumping around to the most fascinating chase of a cheetah towards a gazelle. Okay, when you see a cheetah chase a gazelle, it's a response to the environment, isn't it? So, for example, let us say that you sow some seeds and then it starts sprouting, and you guys mount a camera for time lapse, and then you just leave it for around 12 hours. And then you see the video again, you can see the exact footages of our living organisms. Okay, so sorry. So let's see. Our living organisms responding to this, isn't it? Okay, it's not coming. Anyways, so you can see that response is another factor. So through responses, we can see so many beautiful pictures, like the camouflage of octopus, okay, you sweating, or the dogs panting, or the lions predating, or even the organisms which are escaping from the prey. Okay, migration. All of these are some of the uh, what do you tell? These are some of the things that the living organisms express to their environment. Next one. See, third one is we reproduce, isn't it? All organisms reproduce. So that is must. So you can see that organisms like a giraffe or a yeast, so they all divide from a from a cell division all the way till giving birth to complex living younger organisms. All of them is reproduction. So we'll keep that in a separate part. But after reproduction, what is happening to us? So our parents or our ancestors, our parents obviously, a parent cell, okay, or a parent organisms or our own self parents, when they give birth to us, right? So what they transfer to us is the important matter called as genetic material. So this genetic material, which is embedded in our chromosomes as DNA and genes. So what happens to this important information? So this important information is quite essential for a majority of our biological activities. For example, you might see a fish like a tadpole or a larvae of a frog might convert into this adult frog, what you just saw in the video. Or one more funny thing is, let us say that a guy like me, when I was like 13 or 14-year old, okay, you see, my adolescence was starting back then, isn't it? So when I was prepared, let's say that I am a very good singer, right? So I prepared my singing lessons. So today I'm singing very nice, I have a melodious voice. Okay, I say, I have a smooth, a soothing voice. And the next day I wake up, I hit my adolescence and my voice crack. From to it becomes. You see, suddenly within the night changes. I have become from a very smooth voice to a very harsh voice. Okay, within a fraction of time, within a brief period of time. My genes could have helped me, it would have supported me postpone this all this activity for another 24 to 48 hours, so that I would go on, sing better. So it broke my confidence. I cannot sing anymore because my voice is not at all sweet, right? So this is another thing. So what do? Living organisms, we use the information. Very, very crazy, isn't it? All these chemical molecules having such huge terabytes of information to really engineer your body, how it functions, how it behaves, etc., etc., etc. So that is one thing. Next one. So living organisms, they show adaptations. So you can see so many different organisms, such as your polar bears, your blue whales, right? So you can see a majority of this insects, birds, mammals, fishes, amphibians. What do? Can you put this saltwater fishes into the fresh water and ask them to survive? It's not possible. Okay, like the Donald Trump said, he said that the polar bears who are living in the polar region must be stupid because they should choose to, survive in land. That is why global warming is not a bigger problem, he says. So ignore him. Okay, but can you put this polar bear into Indian subcontinent? Is it possible for them to survive? Definitely not. Why? Because throughout this evolution is a huge story of life, which has taken millions and millions of years for smaller adaptations like losing a fur, humans becoming upright, increasing our brain size for able to think and have these cognitive functions. So all these adaptations, small things that have become change, is a huge, is a huge bundle for an organism to be able to survive in this current environment, right? So evolution and adaptation go by hand for the living organisms, which do not go for non-living organisms. Now, after having this incredible story of how the organisms reproduce and how the genetic information gets transferred and how we evolve, one thing that we have is common ancestry, right? So all of us are one family. This is so happy to say. For example, if you feel that I don't have friends, okay, I have a very small family, do not worry. You have such a big family. Your family has around trillions of numbers. Okay, you have trillions of people in your own family, from a small prokaryotic bacteria, okay, till your complex friends, okay, eukaryotic friends, your the friends who are sitting beside you, okay, in the classrooms. All of you are ancestors. All of us share the same biochemical composition. Guess what? Let me shake your mind a little bit. Now, let us look at this video once again. Okay, 1 second, people. Okay, let's come back. Come on, where is it? It's not happening. So, we have this. So it's not happening. Anyways, so I wish this could play again. Oh yeah, this playing again. See, I told you we have all common ancestors, and all of us are related one or the other way because billions of years, okay, of story started from a single cell, and from the single cell we evolved and evolved and evolved, and it has taken so much story. We saw that, right? We just saw a glimpse. We are going to study very interesting concepts about evolution even in plus 2. Anyways, so after having this biological relationship with all this ancestry through our genetics, now one thing is the smallest compounds that are present in your body are atoms and molecules, isn't it? For example, the carbon, oxygen, the nitrogen, the sulfur, okay, or all the ions like magnesium, calcium, iron, whatever the elements that you see in your body, where does it come from? How did it even create? Go back, people. So we are coming all the way from the origin of stars. So how the stars originated, the same compounds make us. So now you have a chance to call yourself heavenly body. Okay, so I'm a heavenly body. See, I can praise myself. Why? Because all the components that I have, right, is not dating just 20 years, it is dating billions of years. So I'm an ancient, I'm a heavenly body, whatever you call, but we are one big family. That's the beauty of life, isn't it, people? So, anyways, so you combine all these components. What are those components? So we get, organisms able to respond, organisms able to reproduce, organisms able to absorb energy, okay, and the transfer the energy, organisms able to adapt and evolve. All this concept that we talked about, okay, if you just combine all of these things, we would be able to define what a living thing it is, right? From an insect, from a fern, or even a peeking neighbor, all of them show the similar characteristics, okay, of life. Whereas if you see some of the non-living objects such as eyes or the burning fire, okay, so they do not show some of the components. For example, the fire cannot reproduce, even though the eye, the what do you call snowflakes, okay, the prior picture was a snowflake, isn't it? If you take a snowflake, the snowflake really do not have the capacity of consciousness, even though it is very structural, right? We are also structural. Cells to tissues, tissues to organs, organs to organ systems, we are also structural. But even though when we see the snow and we just look at the snow in the microscope, we can see snowflakes which look like cells. But they, even though they are structural, they miss so many life components. Even though the fire grows, the fire cannot reproduce. So that is why life is so precious and life is so special, right? So now we study life and we give reason to life. Correct, right? So now, how far are we going to study life? Whatever we have on earth, we are not completely done with studying all the living organisms on this planet. You know that already, right? There is so much of life till, almost 80% of our tropical forests are yet to be explored. That means there is a living library out there where we have to go and study. But it doesn't start there. It doesn't stop there. We are still curious to find, do we have any more neighbors? Do we have any more is there anybody or is there somebody? Okay, so we keep raising this voice in our head and thoughts so that we find a neighbor to look up to. But it's a scary thing. So either you find a life outside this planet or you find no life outside this planet. Either one is a scary situation. Anyways, so finding life outside this earth, okay, is called as astrobiology. For that we go deep into this very very harsh earthy conditions. For example, there is a desert in Chile where it's extreme conditions for living organisms to thrive. So checking these climatic factors or checking this environment would give us a insight on what are the extreme locations that the life can. For example, hot springs, okay, the thermal vents you have studied in your plus one, right? So the methanogens. So you can see that they can survive in extreme environments. So that gives us a hope that there might be life beyond the stabilized environments. Okay, so that biology is astrobiology. So we've taken too far now. Okay, next one. Chalo. So when we talk about when we try to define the life, so using all these small hints, using these small aspects, we try to define what is living and what is non-living. Sometimes we try to put this, for example, virus, which is not living, which is it's not a living organisms. We know that, right? So virus do not have life, but virus borrows life through our cells, right? So similarly, when we see, sometimes we say that, oh, virus do not have life, but in a host, it shows the, similar properties like life, like it injects its DNA, it gets proliferated, it adapts to the host environment, and it evolves along with the host. So this is also a characteristic of life. So using this fact, you either put non-living into living or living into non-living. So something like that, right? So anyways, where do you see biology? So did you sneeze? Did you express emotion? Did you eat food, write a poetry, or ride a bicycle? In all these aspects, you keep on expressing the biology of, the biology, right? So If you want to express something, there is so many hormones that react. If you want to digest something, there are again so many enzymes that help you. If you want to exercise, there are so many motor and non-motor things that are coming into play, helping you to make judgments and helping you to move your muscle in a very coordinated fashion, right? So you see biology from your immune response, that is like sneezing, okay, from running, from eating, from hugging, from crying, okay. You do when any activity, okay, any activity, from watching TV, for example, you scroll on Instagram. What do? You get pleasure, right? You feel like something's interesting happening. You don't get sleep. Why? Because each time you scroll, there is activation of dopamine. So that is biology, right? Yeah, you give your friends gives an appreciation. Hey bro, you look very nice, you look handsome today. Okay, that is an appreciation. Now what do you feel? You get this sense of confidence, you get this sense of well-being. So that is also dopamine and serotonin. So all this is biology, and we find biology everywhere. So using this knowledge, we using this knowledge, we apply biology in trying to find medicines, okay, creating vaccines, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, okay. For example, the clothes you wear comes from cotton, the apple comes from apple tree, okay. Similarly, the medicines comes from the applicative knowledge that we gain over the years. As I said, 12th biology is great, amazing. We can just absorb all the knowledge because it's applicative. Okay. Whereas 11th biology is the foundation for you to understand anything. Anyways, okay. So, what do we do with this knowledge? For example, we talked about application of biology. We talked about common ancestry. Okay, all of us are. So we use this knowledge. Take, for example, we can't take a human being and put him in a cage and try to study each and every disease in a human body. It's not possible, right? So ethically, what do? We grow some of these lab organisms like mice, guinea pig, and then what do? We try to study diseases. We try to understand genetics. We try to understand the dynamics of body, okay, and how our biochemical machine works, how our hormones work, how our protein function. So all of this is knowledge is collaboratively taken from these smaller organisms, and then we develop this knowledge slowly over the higher organisms like humans, right? So that is one thing. Second thing is, so as we saw, once we take this knowledge from, study diseases, study behavior, study biochemical things, all this for a human benefits. Similarly, how human activities affect the environment, like how it affects the oceans and rivers, how it affects the pollution, like soil and water and air, and all our daily activities like the food. Okay, for example, today we are going very short on the soil nutrient. We are going short on the fresh water. Our water levels are getting saline. There is climate crisis. So for all this, who can put the who can get the solution? Humans can do it. How? By taking the help of biology, right? So to increase soil fertility, we go for the help of fungi, mycorrhiza. Okay. For medications, we go for bacteria, for antibiotics. Okay. For preparing vaccines, we go and study diseases. Okay. For understanding our, for combating of climate change, we are trying to create like unicellular organisms that can give us more and more output of oxygen or and absorb more carbon dioxide. We are creating carbon sinks. We are creating fungi that has the capacity to digest the or break down the plastic. So we are also using these animals. For example, there is a beluga whale who is a Russian spy. Okay, so it spies on all these US ships and everything and takes the information to Russians and gives them. You see, so we can use animals and we can use these biosystems to keep this earth a better place for all of us. Okay, not just humans, for all of us. Okay. So, anyways, so this is about the story of biology, and this is about applications of biology. So, anyways, take a question, people. Okay. I've been talking. Which is the largest organism in the world? You have blue whale, elephant. Okay. Then you have giant sequoia, and then you have tiger shark. So, can I launch an MCQ poll? Yeah, it's on. So the poll is live. Choose an option, people. Which do you think is the largest organism? Guys, are the polls visible on your screen? Nice. Crazy. See, you know some biology. That is nice. Have you heard about the California redwood forest, right? The Great Redwood Forest. I think it's my dream too. I think we all should visit once in a lifetime as a biologist. They're giant. I keep seeing these pictures and videos of this California National Park. These are like extreme giants. You know, the answer is giant sequoia, and you guys got it right. Happy, right? So we all have to visit once. So these are like ancients, so many years old and so big. It will make us look so small. Okay, we are like tiny beings. Even like if not the redwood forest, go to Western Ghats. Look at this giant trees. It will take your breath away. Okay, and it will give you a sight like, oh, I just want to hug this tree and then say hello to my ancestor. Okay, something like that. So the scale of life from 20 nanometers to 200 nanometers, all the way till the blue whale, and then you have your redwood tree. So the life goes from the nanometers to the huge scales. Okay, anyways, having this power to understand biology, what do we get? We get knowledge, we get application, and then we try to improvise our life as well as our environment. All right, students. So before we go into the details of biology, for any guy or for any person that is in the classroom, biology is not an independent field. It is an interdisciplinary field. So everything falls on chemistry. So we relate physics, mathematics, and biology, and we collaborate all this knowledge, okay, to understand life in various aspects. For example, how cheetah is able to run so fast. Why does it have a claws? Why does it have a long tail? Physics, right? So to understand the reproduction and reproductive dynamics, statistics, okay, to understand ecology and ecological, or graphs or whatever it is, we need mathematics. To understand the very core of how the life functions, we need chemistry. To understand the philosophy of life, we need biology. So everything is interdependent. So next time, don't tell that I hate mathematics like I did. Okay. So anyways, chalo people. So what are we here for? So we are here as Avanti Fellows to help you to understand biology in the most interesting way possible. Okay, so I will try to make, or all of our faculties will try to make the classes as interesting as possible. Okay, but it's not gonna be happening with just us, you see. So, anyways, we'll just skip this part. Uh, Without your application or without your input, it is impossible for us to build a communication channel. So as a teacher, I would be really, really happy if my students are really asking questions. So if my students are really posting doubts, if my students are really responding. So respond, interact, study. Okay. So when you do this, the subject's going to become interesting. So even though we tell the concepts and you go read the concepts, you just give your mind space to do this. It's going to stick with you for a very longer period of time rather than just by-hearting the concept. So if you cannot just really remember thousands and thousands and thousands of facts, okay, as memory in your head, it's not possible. So instead, what you can do is you can, build a story. So we can just try keeping, adding one puzzle after another so that we have a nice painting so that we can remember which puzzle goes where and what does this puzzle hold for us, right? So that is the another thing. So when we have this coordination, we are preparing for one thing, that is our examinations, right? So I request you guys to make use of these classes. Come to classes regularly. We're going to start the class regularly and we're going to end it on time. So there is no eating away time. So we are not taking your extra time also. So when you keep up with the pace of the class on a regular basis, so you will be getting more familiar with the teacher as well as the interaction grows, okay, as we move on further. So we all here to study biology. And for you, if I ask you what you look into studying in biology, you would pick up medicine or you would pick up agriculture or life science. So if you want to do medicine, we know that NEET is present. If you want to do agriculture, we have veterinary, we have, AGBSC. So many competitive examinations are there. And if you do not know, how do I proceed? I want to become a scientist or something. So how do we proceed? We take it one step at a time, right? So one step at a time we take, and then we try to understand bio in a more detailed manner. And then you might be inspired to take life science on a very progressive scale. Anyways, so we know that the biology is divided into two sections. One is botany, other one is zoology. So there are tremendous applications in either of the subjects. So we have molecular biology, ecology, and even alien biology, like Avatar, studying, extraterrestrial life. Okay. So your career options taking biology would be becoming a scientist or a researcher, which is very favorite of mine. So you can always put your efforts to prolong the knowledge for the younger generations becoming a researcher and have the satisfaction of understanding the deeper concepts. You can become a doctor, right? So many of you aspire to serve life or save life. It's a very huge badge that you're gonna wear in your life, where you have the responsibility to to give and to promote and thrive life, right? So, anyways, so next one is life sciences. You have study of animals, study of horticulture, study of flowers, study of agriculture. So you have so many different types of biology. Okay, and finally, like me, you can be a teacher. Okay, you can inspire younger generations and feed them good knowledge so that they have this zeal to achieve wherever they go. So the question is, okay, we have individuals in this classroom. Let me ask you, how many of you, okay, I want you to put the messages personally. I know there are classrooms of people, okay, so but try to put this chat. Okay, how many of you people, okay, are willing to become a teacher? Okay, so just tell me this. I'm going to give you a minute or something. How many of you are willing to become a teacher, a professor, or a lecturer? So if I don't get an answer in a minute, okay, I'm going to consider that maybe no, none of you. Okay, let's hope. Is it a minute? No. How many of you aspire to become a teacher? All right. Chalo students. Okay, I'm gonna think that. Okay, the time is up. Okay, I will wait if there is any answers coming, so I'll be happy. So, anyways, thinking that our time is up and there are no answers, so why not? Okay, why not become a teacher, right? So your teacher means not just teaching 11th and 12th. You can teach for degrees. You can teach for master degrees. You can guide students for research, right? You can be a postdoc fellow or a fellow doctor, where you guide your research students to achieve their dream of getting a PhD. Okay, it's not a small job. Anyways, have this openness to for different career paths, so that subject first and then career next. If you love the subjects, okay, so for example, if you love more anatomy, physiology, and medicine, obviously the destiny will guide you towards the doctor, right? If you're more into molecular biology application or trying to find something, you will definitely go and study, right? You will put your efforts into that stream. So that is where it takes you home, wherever you want to go. All right, so next one. So we have options. Which career you guys want to choose? A researcher, medical and veterinary, agriculture, and teaching. Now this is a good option. So I can launch the poll and expect you to, answer the questions, right? Last time I didn't get, so now I'm hoping that I'll get my answers. Which career you guys want to choose? Nice. So we have 6 people. Come on, students. I need all of you to answer. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So can I wait for one more? Can I get one more vote? Mm, probably. Okay. So yes, we have an answer. Okay, let me reveal. Let me reveal what your friends have said. But before that, okay, before that, let me just check on my YouTube friends, okay, and see what they're up to, right? Okay, chalo. So your friends have answered. Some of them wants to become a researcher. Wow, nice. So mind you asking what kind of a researcher? If you tell me molecular biologist, okay, or if you want to become biomedical scientist, or if you want to become something crazy, wow, one day I would definitely call you professor or doctor, whatever your name. Nice. Next one, medical and veterinary people. Great job, guys. So whoever has chosen medical, there are so many speeches and there are so many lectures and there are so many motivations given by people. I would, when me justifying this would be very, very less. So the badges that you're gonna wear, you know that how much of credentials you're gonna have in your life. Okay, it's a long story and higher gifts and whatever it is. Okay, appreciation is definitely there because you are gonna be having a lot of patience and lot of persistence. Okay, to chase this, isn't it? So, anyways, and the guys who chose veterinary, you have my heart, right? So you're gonna treat this poor little beings who do not have a voice, whether it is wildlife veterinary or it is a domestic veterinary or regional veterinary. You guys are gonna do a most heavenly job, and I hope that you're gonna rescue as many animals and save as many animals as possible. Okay, so that is a beautiful thing. People who chose agriculture, none. Okay, so this is also very thriving industry, agricultural industry. So guess what? We have so many agro-based industries where they create GMOs, okay, genetically modified crops, hybrid crops. You're going to study about different variants, okay? So much of genetics is applied in agriculture. Research about Israel and the technologies that have developed in agriculture and how the science have thrived in Israel for agriculture, you will be shocked. Okay, so teaching, okay, there is no question about it. Okay, I personally take a huge pride in this field where I just sit before you, even though I'm like thousands of miles away, and still believe that I can still make an impact in your life. So someday you're gonna reach there and you will believe in the same room thinking that you're gonna make a huge impact in so many people's life. Anyways, people. So what are we going to do now? Stick to basics, people. So understand the basics. Okay, go read your plus one textbook. Take pleasure in understanding the basics. Mark everything that is in your textbook. Point out the examples. Why do you have to study the examples? Create a mind map. Okay, take easy one concept. Okay, one concept, one subject at a time. Don't try to swallow the whole topic. Take one at a time so that if you're persistent enough, you're going to be covering at least 85 to 90% of the syllabus. Okay, so what do you have to do? Understand first, understand the concept. If you don't understand, ask us again. If you understood the concept, please ask questions. Sir, I don't understand this. If you're shy enough, put a message, write a mail, ask your Avanti teachers to help you, okay, to write a mail or post a question so that when we find time, we can discuss it and we can answer it together. Okay, so questions you solve, it is gonna be having a very stronger memory in you compared to that of you remembering the whole text, right? So what I do, I take the textbook, I understand the concept, I get thorough with the basics. Okay, so I don't have any problem with my fundamentals. Now what do? I when I have the concept, I go solve as many questions as possible. Sometimes when I get a question wrong, so I see why it is wrong and try to try to reason it. So that reason is going to stay forever in your brain, and moreover, it's going to reduce your time of reaction. So when I see the question, I know what I'm trying to, what I'm looking at. In your NEET paper, so if you would have solved around thousands of questions, let us say you solved around 3,000 questions in this academic year. So 3,000 questions, people. So when you see this 90 questions, you already know the pattern of questions and appearance of questions. And the same tricks and techniques you would be able to grasp it in a very short period of time. So that will give you enough amount of confidence to break down the time and then just make the decisions as quickly as possible. So that is why this should be your very, very high priority list. Okay, next one. Books you can refer to. Okay, you have to spend a lot of money. Definitely not. Your everything, your NCERT biology textbook +1 and +2. No page left, no page left unturned, no examples, no figures, no diagrams, no labeling, leave nothing. Okay, so see them as much as possible, read them as much as possible. Okay, you're good to go. Next, use Avanti Fellows material, okay, and the question banks and the resources that are already provided to you, and solve them on a regular basis. So if you want more and more, you can go for MTG NEET fingertips. Okay, NCERT at your fingertips. Very, very helpful material. So these three, if you follow, it should be sufficient enough. Don't try to look for so many different resources and then dump everything in your head. Not necessary. First priority for whatever the concepts that are there. Second priority for question solving. Third priority is extra solving. Okay, done. So we know what we are going to study. So we already know these are the lessons in +1 and these are the lessons in your +2. See, people, we know that we have our National Medical Council Act. So what do they do is they provide our NEET entrance examination. Okay, so all of this, how the NEET is going to be conducted, when to apply, okay, how to use your time, where to focus, everything will be guided for you stepwise. So don't take tension in how to apply and how to appear, what are my credentials, nothing. Okay, so don't worry about it. So coming to the exam, it will be usually offline mode. We already know that it will be 3 hours 20 minutes. It's MCQ based. So we have 200 questions. Out of that 180 we have to attempt. So total 720. So in that 50% is our bio, and rest 25 goes for chemistry and physics. We know that. So each right answer 4 marks, each wrong answer -1 mark. So we have 3 sections. Section A 35 questions, section B 15 questions. In that 10 only should be attempted. And then we have we have physics, chemistry, and biology, okay, as a subjects. Chalo. So we have, okay, so the number of questions and everything is present. You can go through this slide again. Anyways, so look at this slide. It's quite important for us. Okay, we are running short of time anyways. So every chapter, every single chapter, and every concept that is within the chapter is broken down for your convenience. Okay, if you have to read the entire lesson and entire units all the year, it's very, very difficult, right? See, for example, cell structure and functions, very, very small unit, right? Very, very small lesson. But you see the weightage of the questions that is coming from this chapter. It's almost 12.21%. Every year it is appearing. It's over the last 10 years we are going to gather this data. So there is a proper pattern in appearance of number of questions in particular units, right? So this is around 12.21. Say, for example, plant physiology, very tough chapter to comprehend. In that, which chapters we have to concentrate, which concepts that we have to look at. We are there to help, and you have to just mark them or improvise those concepts as much as possible. See, that stands around 11.10%. But if you see the plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and biological class, such a huge lessons there are, and so many different examples to remember. But if you see the weightage is only 9.99%. Living world has a negligible amount of questions. Rarely one comes in that. So coming to biological classification, plant kingdom and animal kingdom, barely how much is coming within this 3.3% in each chapter is coming. Okay. So what kind of questions are asked in this? That will help you to solve this huge, huge data. Right? For example, so much is there to study, right? So that will be reduced when you go through this data. Similarly, look at this human physiology, 13.32% of weightage is there. Among this, not all chapters have the highest value. So some of them have the highest values where more questions are coming appearing in this particular unit. So there is one thing. Next, you have genetics and evolution. Very beautiful unit to understand, and so much fun you will have in your +2, right? So these principles of inheritance and variation and molecular basis of inheritance, the primary lesson. So look at the weightage, 11.10% they carry. Okay, if you see from here is your +2, right? From here is your +2. Even the reproduction, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, quite important. Human reproduction, quite lengthy. Okay, reproductive health, very small, very effective chapter. So many questions are coming from reproductive health. Okay, so more weightage is going for reproductive health, and these two share only 25%, 25%, I can say, and this will be up to 50% of the questions are coming like this. Okay, so we'll go through the patterns like this. So here also, if you see these 2 lessons, 3 lessons, more question is coming from molecular basis of inheritance. Second weightage goes to evolution. Okay, so this is second place, and the third place goes to principles of inheritance and variation. So, one second, people. Even though human health and disease is a big chapter, we can point at some things where the questions coming from. Okay, so we can go through important concepts. Okay, so coming to other chapters, okay, some of the applicative chapters like biotechnology and ecology. Here also we have certain chapters, what chapters have what weightage, what concepts, and what type of questions. Don't worry, we got you covered. Okay, so as we move on through units, when we tell that this specific topic is quite important, make sure that you have it under your this thing. Okay, radar. So chalo. So all right, students, we come to the end of the session. What you have to do, focus more on understanding concept rather than weightlifting the books. Not necessary. All right. Thank you so much for attending the session. Okay, and you all responded very nicely. So it was happy to see you when you guys just respond. I don't know if you have a smile or it's like, oh, what a class, no headache class. I'm sorry if you had a boring time, and I'm very happy if you had an interesting time. But I hope to meet you in the further classes, and we're going to have a blast going through the second year, and we're going to have so much fun in learning superb concepts. All right. So, chalo students, here we come to the end of the session. So now, I think, chalo. Anyways, I hope you understood the class. If you have any remarks, you can leave on the chat box. Okay, because NPS poll is not available right now. Otherwise, I would have given you how the class went. Did you understand my language? All the technicalities. So I'll leave the screen blank. You can put all your inputs in the chat box. I would look at it and improvise for the next classes. Language problems. If my speech was very fast enough, if you didn't understand the way I spoke or way I interacted with you, if you need any changes, just put in the chat box. So next class, it will be brand new. All right. Chalo students, thank you. I'm gonna put the video off and audio off. You can put your comments there.